Welcome back, folks, to the Aussie Screen Printing Club. I'm on leave in the UK, visiting some family. And while I was here, I thought it might be good to speak to some British apparel printing businesses. And today we've got quite a really interesting conversation with Jordan Boon from the T-Shirt Man, who has been in the direct-to-film or certainly direct-to-garment market for a good while, and has really had to pivot and restructure and resize his business due to COVID, and he's doing very, very well. He's very honest and very insightful. I should just say there are a couple of technical issues that we had with the 4G network here in Britain. There's a few more patrons connected to it than we have in Australia. So yeah, we had to cut out bits and pieces here and there where the network went down on us, and I've tried to splice those back together, so it might be a little bit bumpy in terms of the recording. Hope you enjoy it. Catch you later.
Hey, there I am.
Yeah. How you going?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, cold.
Enjoy the British weather. You've got your jacket on.
Got my jacket on, a few layers, and trying to warm up. You know, that thing where you just can't quite get warm enough. But
are you in a hotel or Airbnb?
I'm in a hotel.
Okay, fine.
A Premier Inn.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and what are you doing here? Are you here tourist things or family?
Family. I've got a mother here and a sister in France, and my mother's not real well, so just come over to time with her, really. And to meet up with some printers like yourself. So Jordan, thanks so much for coming on the Aussie Screen Printing Show. You're obviously not Aussie, you're not in Australia.
No, welcome.
And you're officially
a
non-Australian guest on the show, so thanks so much for
amazing.
Yeah. Now I know you said to me you've got the smallest print shop in the UK, and I have seen very briefly. It is very compact, but before we get to that, there's been a journey for you about that. So tell us, first of all, it's the T-Shirt Man is the name of your business. You're in Portsmouth in the UK. How did you get going in all of this originally, way back?
So initially it went to university in Portsmouth, and I was doing like stencils. So I've always had an interest in art. So it was cutting stencils out, and then Banksy was big at the time.
Yeah.
So I started doing.
It still is, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, of course. And it was kind of an idea to make some money. So I started doing my stencils, putting them on eBay, and then did a Banksy one, and it took off. And obviously that's not really supposed to be doing it, but it was just spray painted stencils. And before eBay had the rules and regulations that it does now, but yeah, sold a couple of T-shirts on there, and then it kind of gave me printing T-shirts. Did a market selling T-shirts on Portsmouth High Street, and it just flourished from there into them buying a vinyl cutter. Trying to do screen printing, did at university screen printing in an arts course, arts and fashion, and yeah, it kind of just snowballed from there. So that's 20 years ago now, and doing the same thing.
20 years ago, okay, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 17 years, something like that.
Yeah. So just go back and say, when you were doing stencils and doing the Banksy kind of rip-offs and stuff, you were using vinyl, cutting out vinyl and weeding it and spraying those.
No, that was just paper cut out of a printer, stuck onto cardboard, and then cut out with a knife, and then just spray paint onto them in the basement of the halls of residence where we were staying.
Okay, nice.
And then that kind of just went out the window. Then my friends had a screen printing business in Leicester, and they would sell us the T-shirts at a reasonable price, and we could sell them on the market, like slogan T-shirts.
Okay.
And then went to London and visited the guys on Oxford Street. So I don't know if you've been down there. where it's like 500 t-shirt designs on a wall,
All right.
and you go there, and we're buying them from London, shipping them down to Portsmouth. It's kind of like a fashion store. And then I realized I could get a vinyl cutter, make the t-shirts myself. And then people were asking for bespoke ones, and I suppose that's how I got into it. And then the website, and from there it's flourished.
So your journey through stencils into vinyl, and then did you go into screen printing, or did you stick with vinyl? Or
I've bought 2 screen printing equipment, like setups, in my lifetime, and both of them have just it's too messy. And I can understand the appeal of it, like the cost of doing it and the ease of doing it, but it's just money, space. It just wasn't something that I wanted to invest in. And then you've got the big boys with their automated machines, and they can just churn out t-shirts so cheaply now.
Yeah. Is it very competitive here in the UK, this whole market?
Yeah, and it's a huge race to the bottom in terms of prices.
Right.
So we've had to really stand out as being someone that delivers on time. We don't overpromise people. We can't undercharge, because obviously we can't just print hundreds or thousands of t-shirts from where we are that easily. So we have to price ourselves slightly higher, but we promise that they're there on time and it's what you want.
Yeah. Okay.
Using a good t-shirt as well always helps.
What kind of tees do you use? What brand?
Just the standard Gildan 5000.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Better than the kind of 4000s.
Yeah.
Did you try
heavy cotton.
Do you have like the full range of Gildan stuff here?
Yeah.
So American Apparel and Comfort Colors and those guys as well?
Yeah. So on the website, we've got everything from our supplier, and we can get it in next day. So
okay, wow.
I think that's a great thing about the UK. I don't know if it's the same in Australia. Shipping is very, very good. Like, so we could, before COVID, we could order at 9 p.m. at night, and whatever we wanted would be with us pre-12 the next day.
Okay, that's not like Australia at all.
Yeah, I think like the size of the country makes it kind of impossible to ship things same day, next day. But even now we're getting customers that are requesting orders in London, and we can do it same day if they want to pay for it. So an Uber up to London's around about 90, 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So every now and again you get the rush orders and they say, oh, need it today. Like,
so it's more economic for some people to purchase from Portsmouth and have them Ubered up to London than to find a printer in London.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's turnaround time is your point. It's same
turnaround. And also, like, price of warehousing in London, it's expensive. So our prices are cheaper than London. So sometimes it's worth them buying them from us, even though we charge a premium for the express service, and getting them shipped there rather than finding a local supplier.
Yeah.
Just because the prices are so much higher.
And are there many other screen printers in Portsmouth? I mean, you're national, are you?
Yeah, so we ship everywhere, mainly London. There's quite a lot in, so about 4 or 5 probably in the Portsmouth area. The market's saturated. There's always new t-shirt printers coming along, and there's big companies as well. So as I said, I've just started doing the new website for Hoodies UK, and the research that you do looking at other competitors' websites, you find there's new ones out there, or companies from America that are trying to come into the UK market.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the cost of AdWords is going up all the time as well.
Is that your main route to market, using AdWords?
Yeah, so used to try and do like organic SEO, but now that's kind of, it just costs far too much. So I went onto the AdWords route, and I prefer it because we can turn it off when we want to. So in the summer months, we just turn the AdWords off because we're busy enough. And then as it's rolling into winter, put them up a bit. And it's very specific as well, what you want to target.
So do you hit specific markets? Is that your...
Yeah, so fast turnaround, next day turnaround. And then we're trying to get into the waterproof coveralls, the surfers wear, surfers, skiers, that kind of thing, in the cold weather, in the, like wild swimmers. So these jackets, so trying to get into that market, and with the hoodies business, trying to promote outdoor wear, and kind of you can charge a little bit more for those products. So hoodies go for more than t-shirts, and the price of t-shirts doubling over the last couple of years,
Right.
and it's kind of hit us quite hard
Has it
because
really
people just
doubled?
don't want to pay. Yeah, so I imagine before COVID, you could get a white t-shirt for around about 90 pence a pound, and now you're looking at 160, 180.
Okay.
So yeah, prices have doubled, and people don't want to pay much more for them.
So
So I
would you?
remember,
Sorry, carry on, mate. It's all right.
when I first started, there was a company in London that would do a Gildan 5000 in white with printing, with 100 units. So it's quite a small order, £100. But that was 10, 15 years ago. So.
That is a race to the bottom, though. That right? Like,
yeah,
that's insane. Okay.
There's times if we didn't have a rush turnaround on it, we would buy them from them and then sell them on, just because it was that much cheaper. So.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, gotcha. So with the hoodies, are you supplying Gildan stock for those as well?
Yeah, Gildan and Souls. Do you have Souls?
No, not come across that.
Yeah, so Souls is quite a good brand in the UK. Also, Just Hoods, AWD. Do you have those? Yeah, that's quite a nice brand as well.
Okay.
And they've got a wide range of products. The issue with Gildan this year and last year really is they're trying to cut down their range of colours to the more popular colours. So I think they went up to around about 90 or 100 colours, and you're starting to get customers requesting certain colours. It's like, oh, it's out of stock everywhere. And I think they're trying to bring it back a bit to the core colours. Even if they have 30, it's still a lot more than other suppliers, like sand or neon greens. I can imagine like some places just never go, never get sold.
So you're not supplying AS Colour in the UK? Are they a brand you're?
No, I don't. I've never heard of it. I had a look at your website and it was on there.
So they're actually a Kiwi company and an Aussie company, but they're international. And they've got a t-shirt called the Staple Tee. They're much more kind of high-end garments.
Okay.
You know, they cost a bit more, but our customers, most of the markets that we service, ask for those garments. They won't allow us to print anything else. It's becoming the fastest, well, depends who you speak to, but in America, it seems to be becoming the fastest, most popular t-shirt. So worth having a look at.
Is it a soft?
If your customers not
soft feel or?
Say again?
Is it a soft feel or?
Yeah, the 5001 Staple is a very soft hand garment. It's not ring spun. I can't remember exactly what way that's put together, but it also produces a really soft print. I mean, that may not be your issue because you're not screen printing, but if you're using a plastic solid water-based ink, it produces.
And how much do they range at
in Australia for and we'd pay probably $5 to $7 for a staple tee. So you're looking at £3 or £4 roughly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But all the markets are different, right? Like it's not easy to, compare apples with apples.
Yeah.
Here and a t-shirt here, given the difference in the market value.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see, but I think the UK prices are quite low anyway. The amount of items that we are now getting orders to Europe, not a huge amount, but possibly 1 or 2 a month.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think our prices are quite low here, and it's cheaper for them to ship them there, pay the extra duty on them, than having them printed in France or Germany, Spain.
That's amazing. Yeah. Even given the value of the pound against the euro, it's still worth people doing that. Yeah. Okay. So you're heat pressing now not with vinyl now, though, are you? You're using supercolour and those kind of
vinyl. If people need stuff same day, you're probably looking at vinyl. So same day shipment. Next day we can get the DTF print, or the full color vinyl. So just got the Roland GX24.
Nice.
Yeah, classic. Got 2 of those. So if one breaks down, I can always get the other one on.
You got some redundancy.
And,
that's great.
yeah.
That's always a fear of mine is if something breaks down, what the dickens do I do? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're amazing products, but they've stopped making them now. So I thought every time I see one on eBay, yeah,
You just get your hands on it.
Yeah.
And just they're just cutters, or are they printing as well?
No, that's just cutter.
Yeah.
Just pure cutter. And then my friend's got a big Roland Vis, so that's for full color stuff.
Right.
And yeah, and the DTF comes from other companies.
And you source that in the UK, the DTF.
Yeah.
And how do you
And that
feel
comes
about
next
that market generally? Like there's a lot of, I don't know, chatter and speculation and so on across the globe about the DTF market, but you're obviously sold on it. So you think it's a real...
I've looked into buying the machines, and you need a lot of space, and also there's a lot of temperamentalness that goes with them. So a lot of cleaning that I've seen firsthand when I've visited one of the local printers that's got one, and there's a lot of cleaning and ongoing maintenance on them. And for me, it wasn't something that I wanted to get into. Having one maybe in the future, but at the moment it's cheaper to outsource, get the stuff and print it in, rather than having a member of staff sat on that all the time watching the machine.
It's hassle for you.
Yeah, I think it's better than direct to garment as well.
Okay, tell me why. Tell me a bit about that.
With the heat press, so we went to a few shows, and the time it takes to do the direct to garment, setting the t-shirt up, so we can do, I'd say 70 to 100 t-shirts in an hour on the heat press.
Okay.
So we really try and smash them out when they're coming in.
And you couldn't do that on a DTG with all the pre-treatment and direct to film. You're able to do 70 to 100 an hour, which is like, to be honest, screen printing, print kind of performance on a manual press. But you've got the ability, because it's supercolour or some other direct to film, to have multiple colours on that, right? So it's actually heaps faster than a manual press, and obviously no setup. So and your customers are fine. Like, do you find customers know the difference between a press to transfer and screen printing, or is that not a problem to them?
Yes, but where we are trying to get jobs out as quick as possible, they kind of understand that they have to understand that we know the best method for their process. Yeah. So I did some research and mailed a lot of companies in the summer asking what their turnaround time is, and most places are 2 weeks, a week, but then they can't guarantee it. Yeah. And there's even printers that take the jobs on and promise customers that they'll do it, and I don't know if a bigger job comes in and it gets their one put to the back, but we hear it on a weekly basis, daily in the summer, promised by another company, and they're so happy when our products arrive next day. Yeah, it's just something for them to wear, to run around on a field, whether they're doing a fun run or a corporate event. They need the t-shirts. And as I said, like the desperation of companies sending Uber drivers to collect the t-shirts up, to drive them somewhere, they just need it. They just need the guarantee, and which is what we offer them. Yeah. Yeah. The only thing we can't guarantee is the delivery company delivering. Who can? Only as strong. Yeah.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Only as strong as our weakest link, and that's all in the terms and conditions, because customers were saying you guaranteed the service and it's not been delivered. I said we guarantee to dispatch on time on a next day service. If they get lost, then that's up to you. And I just give them all the details, and then they can call up the courier company to chase things up. Yeah, okay. But we can do it if it's really urgent, but most of the time I prefer just to say, look, it's not arrived within wait till tomorrow, or then I'll start chasing up for you. But
Yeah. Okay. And so, in terms of those markets, you mentioned corporate customers and events like fun runs and
yeah,
so on. Is that your target market, or will you just open it up to any market and just?
yes, anything. And I think we have printed for absolutely everyone. You get the odd t-shirts, like the single t-shirts that come through on the online designer. Amazon, we're an official registered supplier for Disney, so we get quite a lot of Disney work come through for their film releases.
Yeah. Wow.
And I think a lot of companies, they come to us because they need something next day, and then after that, then they think, oh well, we'll go back to them because they did it on time and it was no messing around.
So you get a fair amount of repeat business that way.
Yeah, so they come to us, yeah, for the next day product, and then they're like, oh well, can you do more for us and more? And
Yeah.
as long as we keep delivering on time, that's all they want.
Yes. The old adage about customer service is there, isn't it? Without doubt. And you're only one step away from a bad review, and things can go south pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about.
But I think, yeah.
Sorry, carry on, mate.
So bad reviews. Yeah, bad reviews. A lot of people, they go to a shop, like we've got Primark in the UK, and they see a t-shirt in there, £5, like custom print, not custom printed, but fully printed, and they think they can get the same product on a next day service for £10, £12. That always makes me laugh. And what they think in their head and then what they get sometimes doesn't match.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, we're screen printers, kind of purists, I guess, in that regard. Okay, welcome back again.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, we were talking about DTG, director film, how DTG is too slow.
Yeah.
And I think I was about to say something about customers not really, like for us, a customer will say, is it screen printing? So they, in our markets, they tend to want that. They believe that's what is needed or whatever for their business. But then they have zero understanding of the process. And I imagine that's even worse for DTG and DTF.
Yeah.
But like you, they want them tomorrow. We don't do a next day service. It's not possible for us to do that. But you find that most customers don't distinguish necessarily between screen printing and direct to film.
No, they do. I think people ask for screen printed because it's what their band t-shirts or their merch that they got before was printed in. And there are some customers where I have to explain the process to them. But I would say maybe 80 to 90% of the time they understand that we know best. And there's been times where customers, I kind of just take when someone says screen printed as they just need it printed any way possible.
Okay.
And when you've got a full color design and it's just one of them, I don't really want to start having that conversation of it's not going to be screen printed. Why is it not going to be screen printed? So we just print it, and they don't come back and they don't say, oh, it wasn't screen printed. Or occasionally when they do, you just explain to them then. Best to ask for forgiveness than permission.
For sure.
I think this,
So, COVID obviously, it's been a pandemic. It's been everywhere, and Australia's very interesting recipe for trying to resolve it. But I think things were far, far worse here. And I'm sort of trying to get my head around the economy a little bit more here and what's happening. And it seems like there's a strike a day going on at the moment. But how did COVID impact your business specifically?
It was overnight realizing that there was no events going on. So I think the first one was a job for maybe like 200 rugby hoodies. So a nice order. And they had the invoices, they had the proofs. It was just waiting for the payment to go through. And they just called saying, oh, the event's been cancelled. And they were going to France or somewhere like that. And then I had to check my emails. I was like, something's wrong with the website. There's no orders coming in. And then I phoned up the NEC, so a big exhibition centre, and that was closed down. XL London was closed down, and it just turned into there was no orders. So for us, it wasn't that bad. We had a child that was due in the May, so we just went to my parents' house and bunkered down there for the first month. There was just 0 orders, and then it kind of slowly mask printing got popular, and then it was just single t-shirts, or a lot of people started fashion brands. I don't know if you found that.
Yeah.
People sat at home and they started fashion brands, community organizations and outreach, stuff like that, that people wanted t-shirts on. So yeah, it did, and it just was very slow. But obviously the big events, your fun runs, and promotion of products, which just wasn't there.
It was gone.
And yeah, it was okay for us. We didn't have huge amount, well, no staff, a tiny company, and it worked, I would say, to our favour in a way, because we had the baby. The government gave us some money as well, so they paid our bills and everything. So yeah, it turned out not to be the worst thing ever for us. So we were lucky in that respect. But there's a lot of companies that have taken on the debt, bought a lot of machinery, and especially they've gone into the DTG stuff, which are expensive machines.
Yeah.
And now they're having to pay that money back. And the costs have all skyrocketed for everything.
And so have you seen people disappear off the map completely?
Not personally, but oh well, actually yes, I have. There is a screen digital printer that opened just across the road from us, and they disappeared within about 6 months of opening.
No, that's a shame.
So, and it looked like they were going to be, they had all the sign frontage at the front of the building, but that's all still up, but it's just a note on there now with possession order.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that the market is going to have problems this year. So you know about the UK's energy crisis? Yeah. So obviously screen printing, there's a lot of heat involved. And having those machines on constantly is going to cost people a lot of money.
Yep.
And I think, it's just little things like that. It's going to be a big squeeze. There's quite a lot of manual work still in the printing industry, which people don't realise. They think you just press a button and a t-shirt flies out. But yeah, it's still a very manual process, which is lucky for us in some respect, because the robots aren't going to take over anytime soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's always a worry, isn't it, that someone like Amazon's going to come along and say, oh, we're going to start printing t-shirts next day service, and it puts us all out of a job. Yeah,
that would be DTG, that they would. Oh, I guess they could do direct to film as well.
Yeah.
And I guess that could well be a major threat. And when those sorts of things happen, I think it's back to, your customer service and selling the service in a different way, not just we've got a very fast turnaround, but we've got good customer service in terms of follow through sales, or if you've got an issue, we deal with it this way. How would you deal with a big issue? Let's say I don't know, a misprint or something on a larger quantity of garments.
So initially we try and reprint them, print over the item. It depends on if they've agreed to the proof, and it's happened in the past where they've agreed to the proof and then they've received them and something's wrong. And I've kind of just charged them a minimal 20p, that just the cost of covering the reprint over the top. If it's a fault on our end, then see if we can get away with a reprint. Don't really offer refunds. I think it's quite hard to sell things online now, because people expect the Amazon services. I don't like it, I'm going to send it back.
Yeah.
Whereas we're slightly protected that it's customized. So yeah, it's a tricky area. And I'd say maybe 1% of customers complain in some respect, whether it's, I wasn't expecting it to be like this, or, but yeah, I think it's quite low for the, and I don't know, it's probably like yourself, you know when someone's going to complain before you even send the t-shirts out.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it? Why do you can sense it, can't you, by the way they interact with you?
Yeah. The 15 phone calls before to make sure it's all perfect.
Yeah.
And the ones that say, can I have it 20% bigger? Like, no, just give me a size that you want the print to be, like in centimeters or inches, and we'll make it that size. And then the ones that expect it to be different sizes on different t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've got the best
absolutely.
customers in the world, haven't we?
Yeah, it's disturbing, and I often worry. I was talking to someone else about this recently, but I don't know if you have this, but we occasionally get those customers that say, we want to know your process and everything because we've been burnt in the past, or they've had issues in the past. And the moment I hear that, I think, yeah, I wonder if the screen printers had issues with the customer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More than the other way around. And often they'll have issues that frankly are just, we had one recently, and it was a center chest, kind of like a spine print, but on the front. And it was pretty, it wasn't too long, but it was very narrow. And as you're probably aware, getting
it's always going to be like that.
It's going to be out a tiny bit. And it was less than half a centimeter to the left or the right.
Wow.
And they wanted to cancel the whole order. We just dealt with them differently. But
the t-shirts, even the t-shirts aren't straight.
Oh no,
it's not paper. When you go back to the process, t-shirts are still manually stitched together. And it's something that people just don't really understand. They think it's just it's just pressed together somehow.
Yeah, it's all magic.
They don't really understand anything. And so your business, is it mainly commercial?
It's we do a lot of kids camps and church events and those sorts of things, and conferences. Our biggest market would probably be clothing brand and restaurants, cafes and breweries. We do a fair amount in the sports arena. We have a number of sports personalities that we print for, and they're always, there's a big event coming, we need them in a week or whatever, and we just make it happen. But we're, like I said, we're kind of purist screen printers, running an auto and running a couple of manuals.
And how many t-shirts can you print in a day? Is it
the average would be about 700 a day?
700,
A big day would be a couple of thousand. Small day would be 400. But unlike you, you don't have to do a setup on the actual print job.
No.
So if we had, 20 jobs to do in a day, and each one was a minimum of 5 colors, that's a long day, right?
Yeah.
Because if we had one job that was 3,000 garments with a single print, then it's just 2 screens that are getting set up, and that's where it's a real dream. And we find that a bit of a dilemma, and that's kind of modified our pricing structure a lot lately, so that we can manage that.
And have you thought about getting into the DTF, or is that, as I said, the podcast is screen printing?
Yeah. And it is and it isn't, any kind of printed apparel, I guess. But I don't like DTG at all. We do have another printer in Sydney that we sometimes, if there is a super rush job and it's full simulated process, we'll send it to them to DTG it, and they've got a great service. But I really don't like the result. And for my money, there are real issues with the stench of the chemicals, which obviously leave the garment. But when someone opens a box of 100 t-shirts and it just is like formaldehyde almost, I think, that's not real good. Direct to film, I'm intrigued about, but I'm also very nervous about, because we do have those walk-in customers that want a full color job and just a couple of tees, which our minimum is 20, so we just say we can't do that.
But 20 is still quite a big setup. Obviously you charge accordingly, but it's still quite a lot of setup and work for the amount of garments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh no, we wouldn't do a full color job for 20. It would be
No.
200. Yeah, but our minimum generally is 20 for anything.
Yeah.
And I often think of those customers and think, oh, it would be nice to kind of service them, but also I am nervous. I'm nervous about the technology, which I'll come back
Yeah.
to. But I'm nervous that if I get into that market, we'll have customers that complain to us about one or two
Right.
garments rather than actually it was 200 hoodies or whatever, which we just reprint, you know.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about technology mostly because it's, well, at the full commercial level that you're at, it's still quite a new technology. And clearly it's tested, it's in the market, the customers like it. But a bit like you were saying, you know, buying the equipment is quite an investment, and it just looks a little bit clunky to me. We do so for some of the fashion brands that we print for, we would do plastisol heat transfers. So
Yeah.
you know what that is, yeah. And it's just this very similar kind of process to that, but obviously with a different medium. And I know how it's easy to over cure a transfer, and it's easy to underglue it, which can be a real problem. But the main reason I'm nervous about it is, are you familiar with Printavo?
No.
That's an American software company that is a shop management system. And they have a podcast called Print Hustlers. And one of the regular co-hosts on that is a guy called Stephen Ferrig, who runs Campus Inc. in the US. So they print predominantly for university students and sporting teams and that kind of stuff. And he's invested in DTF quite heavily and done it as a kind of trial. You know, we tried this system and these were this was very clunky and this worked well and so on. And just listening to his journey just frightened the life out of me.
No, right.
Yeah, in terms of, you know, keeping the machine heads working, you know, having one that's got 4 whites instead of 1. And I just thought, man, it sounds like a minefield. So clearly it
The only
works.
one that I've seen in action, and I've been to his place like lots of times, and it always, there's the amount of times he's phoned me up and say, oh, the prints aren't ready, I've had this machine, this problem, or I've had to call an engineer out. And yeah, the constant cleaning, and there is a guy just paid to stand there all day just to watch the machine.
Wow.
As it rolls through, fill up the white powder that goes into it, the curing stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's again, the more people that buy them, it's going to be that race to the bottom of people just supplying the material straight off the roll.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be something you could look into, find a local supplier that's already got one. And
well, that's the issue right there, which you mentioned earlier on about Australia. And we have done a couple of ultracolour or supercolour. You know, we've outsourced the transfers and just heat pressed them. I can't remember why we did it. I think it was a funny location and it was a full colour job. I think it was an ankle print on a garment or on a pair of trackies or something. And it took like 3 weeks to get the transfers. We had a similar kind of conversation. Oh, you know, they didn't come out as well as we thought. And this was a big company in a city called Brisbane. But the problem is, if I want to ship something to I'm on the eastern side of Australia. If I want to ship an order to WA, that's a 5-day delivery.
Wow.
Just a standard 5-day delivery. It's a week's drive if you're going yourself. And that's driving every day. And that's the tyranny of, you know, Australia's size. So even, you know, there are no local supercolour transfer companies. I'd have to go to Melbourne or Sydney or to Brizzy. And so,
and there's many printers in your local area.
Say again?
Are there many printers in your local area? So I've got both 5 printers within a 3-mile radius or so, maybe 5 miles.
Okay, so, there's a big difference. So the simple answer is no. There was a printer in the same town as us, and they kind of went bust. Well, they walked. We don't market locally, so we're just national.
Okay.
So we don't, you know, someone will find us on the Google business page, I guess.
Yeah.
But we don't do anything locally. but customers just started coming to us. And so there was this other print shop, and I guess they were just charging too much. I'm not sure. But the guy walked in one day and said, he looked through the office windows to the print warehouse and realized, you know, we had a big automatic press and a couple of big manuals. And he was on a small manual, and his eyes came out in stalks, and he said, I want you to buy my business.
Wow.
And I said, look, I think your business is actually our business. So why would I want to buy? You know, in other words, your customers are coming to us, but, you know, happy to support and send customers that we don't service to you. He then sold that to a local charity that do, they have a model where they employ disabled people and pay them the same as able-bodied people, which is entirely right. But they didn't even know what screen printing was. They just bought this whole package and inherited all this machinery. And I heard about it. So I went around there and said, look, you know, we're kind of your competitor, but this isn't our market. Just use us to train you. You know, we'll come and help you. And they were doing stuff that was really quite scary. And so we're trying to help them get going, and we point customers to them. There's one other screen printer who it's quite amazing, actually. He's become quite a good friend. He lives, I guess, about 20 miles away. He comes from a place called Geelong, which is in South Victoria. And he and his wife, he's been in screen printing forever, like 30 years. He and his wife just decided to leave. So Victoria had the most unbelievable lockdown ever. It was in the entire COVID event thus far, Melbourne has the record for the longest lockdowns. It was like 2 years on and off. And he just got sick of it. And he went online with his wife, and they just literally found a nice house in the country and bought it.
Moved there.
Yeah, they hadn't even seen
and
it.
That's where they're working from now.
Yeah, and he's working in the shed in this new house. So they moved up from Geelong, and just to give you a sense of Geelong, where are we? We're in Portsmouth. So you're kind of probably a distance of here to Barcelona, at a guess, away. Okay, it's a pretty major move. But he services his customers down there. So he's got like 2 or 3 customers. He just prints for them exclusively. He often buys things through us and picks them up at our depot. He's a great guy, knows everything there is to know about screen printing. But that's it in our area. There's a couple of printers in a town further north and south, but they just outsource everything to Sydney. So we're it in that area, really.
I've also found that t-shirt printers, like you said, you've become friends with this the guy that lives quite close by. There's not the competitiveness as other industries. They say there are competitors online, but I've always found you meet and just moan about the same things, moan about customers mainly, and that's about it. Machine's not working, print's not coming out, lack of products that you want.
Yeah, and it's a funny one in Australia. I'm fairly new. We've only done this for 6 years.
Okay.
And I was involved in other businesses before that, and then got out of them. And so one of the reasons for doing this podcast is to try and generate more kind of cross discussion with screen printers. It's actually really hard, but we're getting there. We're beginning to kind of open doors, but people, it's because Australia's population is very small compared to Britain, and it's very big geographically compared to Britain. People tend to be very guarded about their particular markets.
Right. Okay.
And I've been in business for a very long time, and I know the front end of business in terms of marketing, sales, and that kind of stuff. I've learned screen printing. I don't do the printing anymore, which is for me is a bit of a blessing, to be honest. So I think we've moved and grown very, very quickly, and we got the moniker of being the fastest growing screen printing company last year by one of the major suppliers.
Okay.
Which was kind of a really, that's so cool. But it's also, people are like, well, we don't want to speak to him, like, who's this guy? So we found it quite hard. But you're right, when you do get to chat with others, it does tend to be
amicable.
Same. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some people have told me where to go. You know, I've tried to invite them on the show, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Who are you?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
So what's next for your business in terms of growth?
yeah. We're at a, you know, yeah. I'm gonna use the word precipice, where I can't quite see a bridge across the cavern. Is that the right word? The gap, anyway. At the moment, so we moved into a print warehouse, what we call a print warehouse.
Yeah.
Going on for a couple of years ago, at the time when we purchased an auto. The auto took from June to January to arrive, and we thought we were just kind of set. And I've made this mistake in business a lot, that if you say we can just get to this level or have that equipment, or get that kind of size market or that sort of turnover, then we've sorted, and it never actually happens like that. You get to a particular point, new issues come in. Oh, we actually now need one of those, or a bigger oven, or direct to screen, or whatever it is. And so we're at that point. So for us, the problem that we have is the auto that we've got is 10 color, and the manuals that we've got are 8 colors, and I think we're around 900 square feet. But the moment we start bringing pallets in, so when it's very busy for us, it's just pallets every day.
Yeah.
You can't swing a cat. So we're now faced with looking at new premises again.
Okay, bigger.
Yeah, but I don't want to go crazy. I just want to.
Okay.
And this is the problem, right? I just want to get to the next level.
So is getting the stock an issue then? You said about the 5-day journey. You can't. How long does it take to get stock in? And are the suppliers happy to do bulk carton rate on smaller orders?
Yeah. So for things like Gildan and their range of brands, we can get next day if we order before 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Perfect.
So they'd come up from Sydney, South Sydney.
Okay.
We're about 7 hours north of Sydney. AS Colour, which is 99% of what we print, will be 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
And you can get.
Do you carry much stock, or you just buy
orders? No, we tend not to. I mean, we do carry stock, but it's kind of like, I don't know what kind of failure rates you have with direct to film. With screen printing, it can be quite high depending on the complexity of it. So we tend to, like, generally we're 0.3% on failure for a day.
Okay, that's not too bad then.
It's tiny, but you don't know, right? So we will order a little bit more, and sometimes we'll just include that as part of the order as freebies, but often the guys will just put it in stock. So stock does build, but generally we purchase to order, right? So get the stock quantity for the order.
The same with us. We just carry black and white in stock for next day orders, but everything else comes the following day.
Yeah.
Which I've found to be the best way. And I'm worrying when we start launching with the hoodies business, if I'm going to have to start carrying, black hoodies, I suppose, just in stock as general, but maybe 2 or 3 of each size, just to get people something for next day, and then they can have the rest to follow.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's an interesting model. Yeah, hadn't thought
but
of that.
Just always, So we've got 100 of each size in black and white pretty much all the time, with some spare boxes upstairs just in case.
Where would they come from in the UK? Are they in London or Birmingham? Or like, where's the stock generally from those
Birmingham.
countries? Birmingham. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's the next day, and the other one is in Scotland. So we've got BTC, Pencarry, and Rallowise. I think they're the 3 main ones. And Prestige,
So they distributors.
They're distributors.
Oh, okay. So
and you can order one single item as well. So we've been doing it quite long. We've got batch quantities plus discount, but we can order single items without
Wow.
Oh, no problems.
Okay. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So if you had something really obscure in an odd color and you
yeah.
just need one off, yeah, right.
You just
Okay.
order single items, and most of the days as well, it's just exactly what we need, plus the maybe 50 in white, just to get it up to the free shipping
Yeah,
allowance.
right. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's how you stock up
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
but yeah, in general, it's going really well. It gets to a point in the summer where from around about June, July, August, the height of the summer, the phone line gets turned off and it's email only orders, and we're absolutely flat out
Yeah, right.
for those few months. And yeah, it gets very, very busy, and then now it's just quiet over Christmas. So
Yeah.
do you guys, are you closed over Christmas or?
Yeah, we are. The
Yeah.
guys, what day is this? Friday. That's right. So they were meant to finish yesterday. So we have a cut-off date this year of orders have to be in and paid for by the 8th of December.
Right.
This is the first year I've been able to get away from the business completely for 3.5 weeks.
Nice.
One of my daughters co-owns this business and she runs the whole of production. So I'll take the jobs up to pre-press
Yeah.
and then she'll take on everything else. But she just kept the guys going. And I said to her, if you get this, the moment you get all of these printed, you can actually just do the big cleanup at the end of the year and shut down, which was quite an incentive for them. So they got finished on Tuesday and got everything out the door and shipped. And you always, I don't know if it's the same for you, but you always get that customer that comes in and says, oh, I need these,
Oh yeah.
1st of January or something ridiculous, and we just can't do it. It's just not
No.
possible.
But there's no point in it. I think a lot of customers know beforehand the limitations of what you can do within the time frame, especially at this time of year. And we had phone calls this morning, but it's kind of just they're leaving it so late. It's like I've got to turn everything on, get in work mode again for 2 t-shirts or something.
Yeah.
And payment wise, do you request all payments in advance?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Same here. A lot of companies, they do try it, but my job is not to be chasing people for payments.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 customers that do. They've been with us for years, but that's it. And you always find if they need it next day, however their business works, we always work on 30-day invoice. They'll find someone in there with a credit card to pay for them the next day service.
Yeah, and we're very strict about that. Occasionally, one of the, I can think of a couple of customers in the clothing brand market that we've got just a fantastic relationship with, and we might say, we'll get the stock on order today. That might be an urgent job. One of the sports boxes that we do, knowing that they'll fulfill the payment in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
But there's no way we would send anything out the door without making sure that money's in the bank.
I think it's especially we have it quite a lot with people that try and change the sizes, or they'll try and change the print after the garments are arrived. And some of them say, "Oh, can you take a picture of the first one?" No. There's going to be something wrong with it. You take a photo. Oh, can you change that? Actually, that's it. They've gone to print, and that's it.
It's tricky, that one, and we with some of our customers we have to do that. Usually because we might need them to approve an ink color on press. But the problem with that is, photographs never going to do justice to the ink color anyway. So sometimes it's for our peace of mind. But with a press, as you're probably aware, a lot of it's to do with the temperature of platens and keeping things at a particular temperature. So the longer it takes for a customer to approve, the slower the print run's going to, it's going to take 20 minutes to get it warmed up. So we're very careful about that. But try not. I know some printers do that on every print job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'll get approval on press. but we just couldn't really afford to do that.
Yeah, I suppose
time.
It's the relationship you've got with your customers, isn't it? And a lot of ours, they're just thankful for getting things out so fast. And we say we don't do Pantone color matches. We'll do it as close as possible. But as soon as you add heat to anything, it changes anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? I mean, in terms of your plans, because you've done this kind of compacting. I'm not going to say downsizing, because clearly your market's returned and you're putting good quantities out the door.
Busier than ever. We've kind of priced ourselves out of the old market that we're in, and we just got a very specific market that I suppose pays good prices for the products that we sell. And in general, we've got 2 kids, so we're pretty much doing the same thing for the next 15 years or so. to put it in that way, there's always the idea or the thought of a way of expanding. I don't really want to go down the warehouse route, because I imagine you have to print a minimum amount of t-shirts every day to keep the doors open and the money coming in.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been scared of, especially over the last couple of years. When I first started, it was the financial crash. So 2005, 2006, when I started, we had that, and now I've had COVID. And it doesn't matter how much you prepare and how much guarantee on work you think you've got, it can always just stop. The website's been hacked a few times, and that just knocks everything out. Especially when you're reliant so much on online business, it can be overnight, just like, oh, website's down, we need to sort it out, and it can take a week or 2 weeks to fix it. Other things, so Google's algorithm, so if Google chucked us off for any reason, that could be bad. So we got banned from AdWords for a short while. And you just like, work just stops. And we've always got the old customers that keep coming back to us, but then we've had fantastic customers that leave their position at the job, someone new takes their position, and all those orders stop because that person prefers another supplier that they've been using from a different job. The only way that I could actually see it working is with another person with a heat press locally in their house. So recruiting someone on a basis of, we supply you with a heat press in your house, we dump the t-shirts off and the prints, and you print. So like a stay-at-home mum or a stay-at-home person, someone that stays at home and they're happy just to do printing, £12, £15 an hour in their own home, and then we come the next day, collect the t-shirts. When I first started, and there's a video on YouTube if you want to watch it, about we tried to franchise the business. So the t-shirt man, and we've got to about 3 or 4 franchises, and then I realized, to be honest, it's easy enough for us to print everything up and ship it out, because I think the print from home situations can work if managed correctly, with good customer service and a good website, which I think a lot of people don't put much effort into the website and the online marketing.
Just on that franchise thing, Jordan, was that like, in terms of legalese and bureaucracy, and was that a nightmare to set up? Or
no, so we didn't get that far. It was basically me charging a set price for using our name, and then we just have the website, so the t-shirt man Brighton. And it was just a way of scaling the business without having the warehouse, but it kind of fizzled out and didn't work. There wasn't enough work coming in for people, or they weren't putting the effort in. But it was like £500, £1,000 setup, so it wasn't like a official franchisee.
Gotcha. So you think the model is now to kind of employ someone by extension in their home by providing the kit? they don't need to do any of the marketing. They're just the pressing labor, really, aren't they?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
pressing.
that's cool.
And then either pay them per garment, which I think would be the most sensible way of going around it. So per print, because we've had paying people to do weeding before as well. And you can't charge, so you give them the rolls of vinyl to weed, and then they come back and say, oh, it took me 8 hours. So now we do it £15 an hour. I weed one product out, and then times it by however many there is.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, pay a little bit more, but I know exactly how much it is per hour. So they can take 10 hours if they like, or they should be doing 3. So
sounds like a good idea. Outsourcing weeding, though.
yeah,
it's kind of.
But yeah, I think trying finding someone ideally that we know or can trust for a start, to print the t-shirts, and then just give them the proof sheets, and hopefully not much can go wrong.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing any live screen printing, or sorry, live pressing in your case, live printing, we'll just call it? Like going to events and actually doing it live?
No. Yeah. We've been asked before to go to like charity things, and for that we'd use this paper, the Jet Pro paper. So it's A4 paper, you put it through your printer, like transfer paper.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So that comes in useful sometimes for if you need 100 next day. It's just something that can be printed out pretty quickly and shipped out
on a white.
So yeah, we used that for a charity event that we did, but most of the time we're unbelievably too busy. Yeah,
other events.
100, 200 t-shirts going out every day.
Yeah,
with probably a mix of 4 to 5 orders, maybe 6, 7 orders some days.
Yeah.
So yeah, t-shirts arrive before 12, cut up, boxed up, with the proofs on top, all the vinyls there, and it's just a matter of getting them done.
Yeah, okay. So quite long days sometimes.
Yeah. So you're from 7, sometimes till like 6, 7 o'clock. But if it needs to get out, it gets out, and we drive up to the couriers and ship it off there the next day of delivery.
Yeah. Well, that's the ability you have, to manage those processes on the basis of your own input. Allows you to have that flexibility to be able to do a good deadline like that.
Yeah.
Because,
a lot of people, I think, by our website, we look larger than we are.
Right.
But we still get people saying, are you sure you can do this? And they say, are you the guy that I spoke to earlier? Yeah, it's only me here.
I'm the guy.
But yeah, it is what it is. And I think customers, they trust us after the first job's done, that we're there to deliver.
Yeah.
We're not the cheapest, and they'll say, oh, can you do it cheaper? But there's no incentive for us to do it cheaper because we're already fully booked anyway.
You just
a lot of them leave it last minute, or they'll leave it 2 days later. And from next year, I think we're going to have to some way increase the price if they leave it. So they might need it for Friday, they'll contact us on Monday. They can't find anyone cheaper by the Wednesday, so they pay on the Thursday morning. And it's like, well, you've given us like less and less time to do it where you knew about it on Monday. So yeah, price is only being available for 24 hours or 12 hours.
Yeah, or kind of like a model that said, well, if you pay today, it's this, tomorrow it's that, Friday it's that, and so on, to get that incentive right. Yeah, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
I like that thing you said there that, if you're at kind of capacity, there's no incentive for you to lower your price.
No.
And do you get that thing where people say, oh, look, it's just a trial order of 50
or
whatever, we're going to come back and this is going to be the next Nike type thing. You get customers like that?
Yeah, all the time. So first item, so single items, around about £36 to £42 for a single item, t-shirt printed, delivered.
Yep.
And then the more you get, the cheaper they get. 100 t-shirts now is around about £6.57. Yeah, 50 t-shirts, but yeah, we're trying to keep it all around about £7 to £8 a t-shirt now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what other t-shirt printers are going to start charging with the prices going up. So we might be cheaper this time next year than other suppliers because of the overheads that we haven't got, which will be good for us. I only think positives coming out of it, as long as some huge company doesn't just flood the market with cheap labour, but it's quite hard to do.
Hey, listen, what effect has Brexit had on your business, or did it not affect you at all? Or?
Very little. Our supply used to be owned by Falkenroth, which is a German company. But for me, yeah, no real, nothing really. Other than the price increases slightly, but we've just come to understand that now anyway, that prices are just going to keep on going up and up and up.
Yeah.
But yeah, very little. COVID was the big one.
Yeah.
And now it's finished as such. Prices going up.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, it doesn't really bother us, because if people want what we're selling, then we have to charge the price for it.
Yeah, well, that's supply demand market. Yeah, that's exactly what you want. And you mentioned earlier that you're shipping stuff to Europe, mainly on the continent, I think the expression here. Is that something you want to grow, or is it just you'll take it if it comes?
Take it if it comes. Again, with that, I always say to them, we did a job to South Africa last week.
Wow.
And
that's pretty fun.
Yeah, but they needed them for the Wednesday, and it was like a week before. So it wasn't a problem for us to get them printed and shipped out. But I said to the guys, I'm not chasing up any courier outside of the UK, because that just seems a minefield of language and not understanding a single thing that goes on in the country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still don't know if they've received them. But he knew that from the very start. It's in writing that,
that was the risk he took.
Yeah, that I would be chasing it up, and if anything goes wrong, he's got all the details. He can contact them, and so
You've got a what will we call it? A design engine on your website.
Yeah.
Do you find lots of people use that? Or
yeah, it's probably one of the best parts of the website. It brings in a couple of 20-30 orders a month, maybe.
Yeah.
So like mainly single orders, single t-shirts. But we've got a new one on the Hoodies UK website. So I'm looking forward to seeing which one people prefer, and if it's easier with the new software. And then the T-shirt man website needs redesigning next January. Well, January when we come back. They're launching a new website there as well.
Hoodies UK site, you just decided to create 2 channels to market there, did you?
Yeah, because people always ask us, do you print T-shirts? I don't know if you get that. Like, pick the pair of, do you print T-shirts? Yeah. We're called the T-shirt man. I think the name quite self-explanatory. People don't understand that you do hoodies or outdoor wear as well, jackets, and there's a big market for levers hoodies, ski hoodies, which I'd really like to get into.
Yeah, okay.
And the profit margin as well, when you can charge £20 for a hoodie and only £8 for a t-shirt. Yeah, I think the profits in it's a lot better.
The ratio is better on a more expensive product.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we
so
have the opposite thing. We make more money out of tees than we do out of hoodies.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And we hate hoodies. Screen printing on hoodies is, it's the bane of all screen printers. They hate them. Technically much harder to print on.
I didn't realise that.
Oh, yeah. No, much, much harder.
I think the other thing was with the screen printing when we did it, it was, other than the setup and the fact that you have to put the t-shirt onto the press, rather than just lay it on flat and then
yeah.
So it's the extra time of that, the drying and the cleaning up, I just couldn't stand it.
With screen printing, once someone learns to load or to unload, it's a 6-second window, so they load very, very quick. You'd be amazed when you see people do that kind of stuff.
I've seen the World Championships.
Yeah, that's right. There's competitions. That's insane, that kind of stuff. You know, if you look at that, there's like 15 people supporting the service. But like as a standard, so for us, our main loader, it'll have the trolley of garments there, and they're laid in a particular way, and she will just load 6 seconds. Bang.
Wow.
So the dwell time is really small. And then you'll have someone unloading at the same simultaneously. So it's one on, one off, one on, one off.
And injuries, have you found much in regards to repetitive strain injuries? So I've over the years with the heat press on my arm, and bad back pain now, but nothing to write home about, not a problem. But I always felt my shoulder from years of repetitive strain. It's
for sure. And look, you know, when I was printing, I was, you know, working on a manual press, and I'm in my mid-50s, quite overweight, and have had pretty much a consulting desk job for most of my life. So I'm fit, and it was agony. You know? So we'd print 100 an hour on a manual, just two of us, and I'd do the printing and someone would load and unload and catch. That was just brutal on my body. Eventually I got someone else to do that printing, but I think, you know, a younger person like yourself, I mean, it's repetition, and with a heat press, it's quite a bit of pressure usually, depending on what kind of press you're using. I guess you could upgrade to an automatic press. There's some really good presses.
So the wife, Natasha, does all the printing, and she's a bit of a keep fit fanatic. So she likes the joy. I've spoken to her about the automatic presses and the pneumatic presses, but no, she likes it. She keeps on going at it.
She's working out. That's good.
For me now, it's just repetitive strain on my fingers from all the typing.
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, no, that's good. So if you were to give somebody some advice on starting up in your area, and obviously you've mentioned that there are people that start up but don't last, what kind of advice would you give them to help them succeed?
Website is probably your biggest asset. Like, anyone can buy the equipment, but unless you can sell the t-shirts, you're not going to be going very far. And I think that's about it, really. I think it's websites, or unless you're very good at sales and you've got someone to go out there and sell to the big companies, but it is a massive race to the bottom, like anything now, and it's going to get tougher, I suppose. But it's still a good business to have. There's still money to be made in t-shirt printing. But I think you need to be very smart where you're spending your money now, because there's people like yourself with a reputation and the automatic machines that can churn out 1,000 t-shirts a day without any problem. It's a saturated market in the UK. I would say so. We've had people come to us, like dance schools, and as soon as the dance school gets to a certain size, there's usually a mum that will say, I'll buy the equipment and we can just do it ourselves in-house.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right.
You get quite a lot of that, and it's a few YouTube videos and you're away printing. But there's a market out there for it, I suppose. There's a fashion market as well for people that want the very specialist stuff. But it's about being specialist in whatever you do, finding your niche.
Things like the cricket or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, the sweaters.
Sorry?
The sweaters, the crew.
No, not the crew cuts. Isn't there a a vinyl cutter called a Cricut.
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay. So in the US and Australia, at least, they have it's about this big, it's a small vinyl cutter.
Yeah, Robocraft. We have.
Okay, that may be
Yeah.
what it is here. And everyone's parent seems to be getting one and doing the t-shirts for the kids club or the scouts or whatever it is. And suddenly thinks that they're into the business in a big way. But to get supercolour or ultracolour and to know how to press well, I've always, like I said, we have done a couple of ultracolours and we do plastisol transfers, usually for names or numbers.
Right. Yeah.
So you might have an order of 100 garments and they've all got an independent name there or on the back of the garment or something. We'll just do the transfers for those. And there is that moment though when you lift the clamshell of the heat press up, and if it's a hot peel, you start to kind of peel it where I just kind of panic, is this going to work?
Over the years, we've just come to cold peel, hot peel. They're all about the same. But yeah, as you said earlier about the error rating, like it's very low for us now, which we're quite happy with. Probably about the same, 0.3%. But we don't buy extra garments because there's not the volume for it.
Yep.
But yeah, we're low on errors, so that's good.
And there's not too much can go wrong, right? It's just that the placement, I guess.
Placement. I put it always on the wrong sleeve, so that's my big problem. The last right sleeve, and I'll mix it up. I mixed one up yesterday. But bit of acetone will get it off.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's so nail varnish remover, and it peels off.
All right, that's a gift compared to screen printing. Can't do that with screen printing. Okay. Any final questions from your line?
But no.
All right, Jordan. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Worries,
really appreciate it. Sorry about the technical glitches.
No problem. Sorry about yesterday.
Oh, that's all right. No, don't worry. You just looked really blank, and I thought, oh no, I've come to the wrong place. There's another Jordan here.
We did this birthday party on the Monday, and then we got back late because we had our auntie's birthday as well.
Oh, nice.
So I went to her house in the evening, got back, and then I told you, open your presents, other presents, like later presents tomorrow morning. So I think you arrived just as he was opening his other presents.
Thanks for showing me around. Inspired that. I appreciate it. Now, just very quickly before we finish, people can find you at t-shirtman.co, the T-shirt Man, isn't it?
The t-shirtman.co.uk. I'll put it in an email for you if you like.
Yeah. But also you've got an Instagram, obviously, the T-shirt Man. Same on Facebook?
Facebook, / the T-shirt Man.
And you'll print and deliver as far as South Africa and anywhere between there and the north of Scotland. Yeah. Good stuff.
So, pretty much anywhere. If Germany needs us, we'll be there. But
Jordan, mate, it's really great to get to know you a bit there. And to learn about your market. It seems like you've really cornered it. It's really encouraging, and you've worked your way through COVID really well. In fact, I think it's really reset you, if I may say, and sort of driven you into a particular model of operation, and you've got expansion models there too. So it sounds great, mate. Thanks so much for coming on.
And if you are in Portsmouth over the next couple of weeks or whatever, let me know. Go for a beer if you fancy it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Nice one.
All right.
Perfect, Sam.
Have a good day. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.